What's up, Grizz Nation? I am Meghan Triplett. That's John Roser on the other end of this. And it's time for 3-Point Stands presented by, there you go, Mountain Dew. I didn't even have to say it. Roser got me covered on that one.
I'm not ready yet. Hang on.
You got drink it, get some energy out of it. Here you go.
Woo! Let's go.
You ready? I need your stance on a lot of topics. It was a great weekend because we had Grizzlies Scrimmages. I almost said games. The Grizzlies were back in action on Friday and Sunday. First up on Friday, they took on the Philadelphia 76ers. And then on Sunday, they followed that one up against the Rockets. Both of them resulted in losses. But give me your takeaways from the weekend that was when it comes to the Grizzlies.
I thought, the Houston, they had better focus. Better focus for the entire 48 minutes. Now they got killed in the fourth quarter. They got destroyed in the fourth quarter. But I thought the energy was much better. And look, I thought their energy was fine against Philadelphia. They just couldn't make shots. That Philly team is a very bad matchup for the Grizzlies because they are huge. They are monsters. That Philly team is massive. You look up there and you see Ben Simmons and Embiid, like all Horford, like all the size they have. It really is a problem for the Grizzlies. But I like the way they stuck with it. They came back in the second half. Now, some of that is Philly kind of took the foot off the gas, and they started playing a lot of their reserves. Shout out to Norvell Pell. Never heard of you before, but he was great for Philly. And then the Houston game. Houston's a little bit more of a better matchup for the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies like to get out, run and gun, up and down, and that Philly team can just suffocate you defensively. They're so good defensively. They can just suffocate you and put the clamps on you and not let you get out in transition. Houston wants you. I mean, they're going to run up and down, and the Grizzlies were able to get out in transition a little bit against them. It was good to see Ja kind of get off a little bit against the Rockets. The concern is Dylan Brooks. That's the big concern. Ever since he had that pretty good in December, then was great in January, February and March, not good at all. And since we resumed play of these two scrimmages, 3 of 12 from 3 and 4 of 21 from the field. 4 of 21 from 19% shooting from your starting two guard, 25% from 3 from your starting two guard. That is not going to get it done. And we've seen when Dylan really does get it going and he starts cooking, whether December or January, they turn into a different team because now you're talking about Ja who scores, Jaren who scores. We know what Valanciunas does. He's going to get his 17 and 10 every night, 16 and 10 every night. But if Dylan can really get cooking from 3 and get going offensively, that just adds a whole nother dimension of perimeter scoring for the Grizzlies.
I mean, but the biggest thing is that you said this. When Dylan gets going, he gets going. When he's good, he's good. And you know Dylan Brooks very well, too. He's tough on himself. He's hard on himself. So you know he's going to put that work in. And you know he's going to hopefully just kind of start feeling things again. I think after Friday night, even Josh said there's a lot of rust on these guys. They haven't played in almost 4 months. And so it was something that they're going to have to kind of like build that momentum back up again and getting used to the hang of things. And we saw the team get so much better when it came to Sunday night. The team had the pace, they had the defense, they had the energy, they were communicating like Coach Jenkins had told them that they wanted to improve on. And you can tell they were focused on themselves. Like they looked unstoppable in the first 3 quarters. Obviously, Houston went on a tear when it comes to 3-point shooting, 23 3-pointers. Couldn't stop that, but you do see the improvement, and I get you on that. The shooting performance as a team, it's not the best. Like we went from Friday to Sunday, we're getting those improvements, but hopefully Dylan can get things going again. Then on Tuesday they have another scrimmage against a Miami Heat team, which we got a lot of history, with, and that's going to be a tough matchup. And Coach Jenkins said it best. Like these are the tests that we need, especially when it comes to scrimmage before we get into these seeding games. And by Friday, hopefully everyone would have gotten all the jitters out, shake off all the dust, and we'll look good again. There's a lot of positive.
No, there were, and I'll say this for Houston: like if you tell me Ben McLemore's going to hit 6 or 7 from him and Jeff Green combined to go 9 of 11 from 3, like get out of here! Like that is so that made me so mad. Right. Those two guys doing that. And the truth is, if the Rockets go 22 of 50 or 23 of 51, whatever it was from 3, 22 or 23 threes out of 50, and they take 51 and they're going to shoot, with a 40%, like 42, 43%, 44% from 3, like they're going to be tough to beat for anyone. Anyone is going to have problems beating that Houston team. But yeah, no, you're right. Like a lot of guys are trying to shake up swords. I would say for somebody like Dylan, just try to make the game a little easier on yourself. Like these 18-foot fallaways with two guys on you, like these are not good shots. These are not high percentage shots. You're not going to give yourself a very good chance to get going if those are the kinds of shots that you're going to take. Those are difficult shots to make. So I would say maybe relax a little bit, make the game easier on yourself.
Yeah. Hey, another positive thing, Anthony Tolliver, we got a chance to see him in the lineup. And Grayson Allen, he is back. It was so great to see him back out there on Sunday night. And we're getting to see these different rotations. And we do have a lot of weapons. When these guys can get going and start feeling themselves and kind of get used to playing with each other all again, they're all healthy, minus Justice Winslow. This could be something good. There's still a lot of work to be done, and Coach Jenkins said it best. He was like, this is just the start. We still got a lot of things that we need to improve on, but it was good to see them all back out there, on the court again. It looked like March. In my head, I was like, oh my gosh, it's been 4 months. Like, I totally forgot everything that was going on that we've gone through to get to this point. And so now we got to talk about another league who has gone through a lot to get to this point, who might see their season come in jeopardy. Major League Baseball. It took a lot. It took a lot for us to get to opening weekend, and we got there, and then here comes Monday. So the Miami Marlins on Monday morning, it was reported that 13 people, players and staff, tested positive for COVID-19. And now we're seeing the domino effect of how that works out. They had to cancel their game Monday night. The Yankees had to cancel their game because they're also going to be playing in Philly. That's where the Marlins had played last. And now it's a conversation as, is the baseball season in jeopardy, and where do you go from here?
Yeah, it is. I actually thought it was 14 people that tested positive. You might have been doing them one good by saying 13. I think it might have been 14. But what is so ridiculous? So like Major League Baseball just did. The players also were selfish too. Major League Baseball wanted to do a bubble in Arizona, have a bubble in Arizona. The players didn't want to do it. Okay, so what Major League Baseball could have done, these players from the Marlins when they were in Philadelphia, they were going out. Like they went out. Like they clearly did not just sit in their hotel room the entire time. Major League Baseball, if they're going to allow these teams to travel to different hotels, they need to set up spots in these hotels, set up their security where players are not allowed to leave the hotel. Yeah. That when they are at their hotel, unless they're going to the ballpark, that's the only time they leave. Or if it's to go downstairs because Postmates or Uber Eats or whoever is delivering them food or something. And baseball hasn't done that. Those guys were just walking around Philadelphia. A lot of players and a lot of staff are doing that. And I saw where the Marlins, like the players who are still currently in Philadelphia, they're scheduled to play the Orioles this week, right? That's canceled tonight. Tuesday's game is also canceled. But that they're scheduled, like the Miami Marlins, those players in Philly are going to fly to Baltimore for Wednesday and Thursday games. And it's like, wait, shouldn't y'all just be quarantining yourselves? Like, shouldn't y'all be quarantining? But y'all are traveling to Baltimore like y'all are going to play a game. Like, this is baseball. Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, the commissioner, has to step in. He absolutely has to step in. You cannot have your teams doing this. Like, unless you just decide, players are going to get infected, they're going to get COVID-19, and we're just going to have to deal with it and play with it. They're going to have to decide they're going to play with it or they're going to cancel the season. With one team getting it, having an outbreak, I think you can postpone their games for a little bit and just continue with the rest of Major League Baseball. If it starts to happen, Major League Soccer did this. The Dallas team had an outbreak and the Nashville team had an outbreak, and they sent them away, and they were not going to the bubble in Orlando. The rest of those teams in Major League Soccer are at their own bubble in Orlando, and they had no new positive tests. Major League Baseball, it's not a shocker here. It took them forever to get back on the field and to come to an agreement with the owners and the players. And, of course, they're dropping the ball again on something like this. It doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of conversations are going to have to be had this week, because now it's the biggest thing is like what do you do now? Because obviously the first option was you have this next man up mentality. They have this roster where they can get players and replace them. But when you have such a crazy number like the one that you do, at some point it's like, when is enough going to be enough? And this is going to be an example of that, because as you mentioned, if players are going to be going out, not only that, but they have to go back to their homes because they aren't in a bubble. So a lot of these guys have wives, children when they play home. So now it's an effect of it's that domino effect that we've seen with COVID-19 of how you have to put go back and go back in time. Where have you been? Who have you talked to? Does this person have it? And that's why you see even other teams having to cancel games, because if you use the visitor box, well, no other team can go into that visitor box, and then the next team, and then you're trickling down to everyone's season or games being postponed, having to reschedule. It's something that we kind of knew was going to happen, and so I don't think anyone thought it was going to happen after opening weekend. I think you're hoping that this could have been something that we could have been discussing if the chances. But now, just with a couple of games in, a lot of questions are up for, that everyone's asking themselves of, is this worth it? Is it something that, a lot of these guys want to do? People were already questioning if they wanted to play. And now we got the NFL trying to figure the things out without a bubble too. I think they're all looking at each other saying, how are we going to do this in a safe environment? Someone's calling.
The NFL is most closely watching Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball, you're talking 40-man rosters, you're talking coaching staffs and everything like that, trainers that are all traveling and everything. In the NFL, you're talking obviously a huge roster too, with coaches, trainers, and everything like that. So they are watching Major League Baseball the most closely. I think what is shown so far, like the NHL is going to be in a bubble. The Major League Soccer is in a bubble. The NBA is in a bubble. And so far, everything seems to be good. Hockey will start this Saturday. But out of all the people they've tested, over a couple thousand, they've had no new positive tests. They tested over the first time they did testing, it was like over a couple thousand people, and they only had 2 positive tests out of all of that, which is great. That's a very, very low rate. And since they just did their most recent batch of testing, they've had no positive results, which is great. So what hockey's doing is working. What Major League Soccer has done, having to send Dallas and Nashville away, but all the other teams, they've had no new positive tests. We'll see what happens on the NBA's next round of testing. But so far, these sports that are kind of putting themselves in a bubble, it appears to be working so far.
Well, only time will tell. I'm sure we had a lot of answers to these questions coming this week and the next couple of weeks. Something that we are questioning about over the weekend that made everyone was talking about it. It went viral, and the hashtag was going around. Timbaland had this idea. He tweeted out an idea of saying like, "Hey, Chris Brown, I have an idea," and the thought of another Verzuz battle. We just wrapped up the Battle of the Dogs between Snoop and DMX. Now who's next? So it threw out the idea of Chris Brown and Usher. Could they go head to head in the next Verzuz battle? I didn't realize that so many people thought so highly of Chris Brown and his music, not knocking it, but a lot of people were going back at it. With some people thinking that's disrespectful because Usher has like the list of albums and songs that he's done is nowhere near to Chris Brown. And some people thinking, no, if this happened, Chris Brown would totally win. What's your stance on the potential of if it was Usher versus Chris Brown? Who you got?
I'm Chris Brown. I like Chris Brown's music better. I do. I know.
Music better. I
think Chris Brown's got more bangers. I think Chris Brown's got more bangers. I do think Usher has the best song overall with Nice and Slow. Slow. Yeah, never get tired of Nice and Slow. But I think I like Chris Brown's catalog more. I do.
Look, first of all, like just
he can rap too, more versatile.
Look, Usher. To me, it's so disrespectful to put them even on the same level. Chris Brown has done a lot of great things. He has done a lot of great things. But for all the kids who are listening right now, and you think Chris Brown is amazing, go back into time. Usher has been around longer years, and Chris Brown has even said he's looked up to Usher. Like the list of what he's been able to do, Confessions, Let It Burn. Yeah, you can go on and on and on. My Boo with Alicia Keys. Like I'm flabbergasted that this is even a thing. Like to me, it's just like the only person who could be kind of close, and I don't even think it's close. And I said this earlier on Rise and Grind, Neo. I think they're like neck and neck only because Neo has written and produced a lot of these songs that we don't even realize it. But Usher is great.
No, he's canceled, but R. Kelly. So I know he's canceled, but R. Kelly.
We can't do anything with R. Kelly right now. That's the only thing. We can't, it's crazy because a lot of people did bring that up. And it's like, if he was someone that we could even talk about and was someone that was even worth even stepping up to the battle, we can't because he's just not, we don't speak of his existence right now in our lives. But yeah, I'm surprised you said Chris Brown. To me, it's like that's blasphemy. It really is disrespectful to Usher, and I want to apologize to Usher for this because this was not my idea, Usher. I respect you. I respect your music. I respect your catalog for what you've done. It is not on Chris Brown's level. It is not knocking Chris Brown, but sometimes you're just a little bit better. If Chris Brown puts a couple more years in the game, if Usher retired and Chris Brown had 5 to 7 more years.
Usher is retired. When's the last time Usher put out a song?
Technically, like retired.
He put out a song in like 10 years.
No, he's had a song like he just had a song. I don't think it went like as like big as what you're thinking, but he did have a song. He's still singing. He's the voice coach. He did great on that. Like, no, and we know Usher's gone through some things too. Like, since I mentioned everybody else, he's gone through some things, but he's kind of working his way.
Like women.
Yep, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but when it comes to his music, it's 10 times better than Chris Brown. I'm shocked at you. Like, I know how like I have respect for you and your music, like mind, but now I'm just kind of questioning everything.
Chris Brown would run it. Yeah, right.
His songs do sound alike. Like, I mean, Usher's done a lot, like just different types of songs, different genres. Chris Brown got kind of the same type of thing. I don't think he can rap, kind of. He can kind of rap. Like, I wouldn't say he's a rapper.
No, he's not a total rapper. Well, I'll take Chris Breezy over Usher.
It's Usher, baby. I'm going with Usher. So we're totally different on this one.
I'm taking Chris Brown.
Well, until then, we don't know who's doing it. Chris Brown said he doesn't want no part of it. The only person he's going up against is himself, as Chris Brown would say, which is also another prime example of why he would not win. But we shall see who the next Verzuz Battle will be. Maybe it'll be you and I. They'll ask us to sing some songs. I don't know. Probably not. I play the piano. We'll see. I don't know what you do.
I do nothing.
Okay, perfect. Well, until then, we'll just keep giving you these 3-point stances every week. We're good at this. We'll just stick to this. Roser, same time, same place next week. See ya.
Yep.